not entirely known. So we spoke here, we got learned a lot about external, somehow why were they not working as they should, and also there was an extra tool that we didn't have before, which is the laser cutting. Before Judit was the laser cutter, so we were very much we couldn't get into so deep patterns and things like this. So here we could try the patterns and use the theory behind it to keep the speaker working as it should. We tried many types of shapes and many types of thicknesses. We tried different materials, and we found out that the best material is the cassette, which is copper plated because of its low resistance. Actually, we spoke with Statex, and they sent new materials to try, but they took long, so they're probably going to arrive on Monday.
On Monday.
So we can do the test.
And so, I mean, these are just like some of the speakers that we did, the working ones, because not all of them were working. We tried to put them in series as in parallel, and sometimes it worked better, sometimes it worked less. These are the working prototypes. For instance, here you can see Pavarotti. Actually, upside down in this picture, it doesn't matter. Here you can see Pavarotti. These are like liquefied. This is a star. Different types of thickness and length of the coil itself, but they're all working properly. And these are just like one of the late nights that we spent here with this with the laser.
The laser cut.
Yeah, was the best thing. This is a speaker which is a Henry Hertz. I mean, you can see him. This is his beard. This is both of his eyes. Hertz, you know, it's the first scientist who proved electricity as a frequency. So he got named that. So it's a Hertz speaker, and it works actually. Just you need to have a couple of them in parallel. And this is a liquefied one. It works as well. You have to have only like 12 of them in parallel. We also learned here that you have to kind of calibrate your speakers to your amplifier, which is before what we used to do is more like calibrate the amplifier to the speaker, and that's where we would burn a lot of things. And if you do it the other way around, then you can work a lot with the pattern and the length of the coil and somehow reduce the power in the amp. Before you used to use like much more bigger, more powerful amps, we would get like decent sound and it would work, but eventually it would get too hot and maybe burn, and you know, like so we would do it the other way around. And now when we're starting to like work on the coil instead of working on the amplifier, then you can really like try things out. This is another one. This is the silk.
Actually, you can try this one on the table.
And there's this beautiful rack of textiles there. We could have different types of textiles and try all the different ones. Sometimes we try the more paper-like because we use like a membrane, but not always it was good. I mean, the thickness also is we didn't think that this silky one, it's not really silk, but it's like really silky because it really...
Yeah, it depends on the softness of the textile.
Mm-hmm.
So the softer it is, the worse it is, or the opposite?
It's no, like we thought that if it was stiffer and more like paper-like, it would work better,
Yeah.
but not always.
No, okay.
Like it depends on the coil. I mean, a little bit like, you know, like which size of the coil are you using? If it's like thick enough to move the whole paper or not,
Okay.
and also what you want. I mean, sometimes it looks beautiful and it doesn't give such a high fidelity, but maybe if you're looking for a fidelity. So I think part of this soft speakers is not to make a new sound system, because you know you already have a really high fidelity sound system. So it's more of working with the textile itself.
Really testing.
Different working ones. This one is this one works also in series. No, this one is in parallel. No, that's a stereo. This one is maybe this one could be a stereo. So we could try it also in stereo to have like 2 channels, and then you know you have like 2 speakers and you have like an actual stereo. Like we have the setup here. This is because this textile has much more resistivity, so it has to be at shorter coil and a thicker one, and then you can reach the 6 ohm was what we were like aiming for the amplifier. Because the amplifier, if it's the one that we eventually bought and we're trying, it's kind of like between 4 and 8. So if we're aiming at 6 ohms, then it will be really efficient, the speaker that we're trying. This one is like 6 ohms.
Because first we tried the copper coated textile, and this one is like pure silver.
And you can cut them with the laser cutter. The little laser cutter didn't cut them so well. Sometimes you have to do like 2 passes, and it starts burning it if you like pass it many times. But the big one, it cuts it like really nice.
And not really burn, but like oxidate the edge of the pattern.
And here where it's the ribbed part, once it burns, it starts losing surface area, so the resistance changes a lot. And if you use the big one, then you can really cut it like super straight, and then it's kind of a stable, the whole thing. Also for like, I think it was how to apply the speaker onto the textile was also like a challenge. How to iron it, or how to do it exactly, like the whole process of cutting it and putting it together. And that's all in the documentation also. This is also a thinner one.
So the process is kind of stable now.
Yeah.
Cool.
See, and they're not burning. You can like even play music. It's so each speaker, you can only. It's better. It sounds better if you put like only like a limited amount of like a frequency range into it. Because if you put the whole thing, then because it's just one coil, it kind of starts to be distorted. So if you put like the lows and the highs, all of them sent to the same speaker, it's going to be like. But if you just send the highs, then it's going to be like much more clear. If you just send the lows, then it's just going to like vibrate or something.
So the same speaker can work very well just in a low, in a bandwidth.
Yeah. And if you just choose that bandwidth, because if you
send the same speaker,
yeah,
it's good for low, mid, and high.
Only if you send the lows. Only if you send the lows, or only if you send the highs. The lows, for instance, are very much harder to reproduce because they need a body,
Yeah.
And these ones don't really have a body. The highs, much easier to reproduce, and also because, as you told us, there were so many things about the high frequency sound is much more linear. That is why you can like focus it and you can listen to it much better. And once it becomes, it starts becoming lower, then it's like, oh my goodness, and you can see it either or feel it more than hear it.
And doesn't depend on the dimension of the speaker, or
so that.
So what are the variables? So meaning dimension. So of course resistance is one.
You have to think about like what are the fixed things that you have to work with. So for instance, you have a fixed size of a magnet, which we have like a neodymium magnet, which is around this big. And so the coil, we should make it around that big, because you could make a gigantic coil, but only where the magnet is working, that's where it's gonna like go. So you have like a big
difficult is because you need to move a lot of iron. And with the text, they don't have the possibility to push
a lot of
all the iron in the same time, because they move.
Okay. And so the stiffness. So the stiffness of the things is an important thing.
Yeah, definitely. And so if you start with the 2 points of having like the size of the magnet and the amplifier that you can push through, because we also have one which goes up to 32 ohms, so you can actually try with the 32 ohm one, and it requires much more power. So you have like those, let's say those static things, and then you have the other variables which you can choose the size of the coil, or like you have to stick to the resistance, but the coil should be, the more turns you put into it, it's stronger, it has more power on the electromagnet. If you have like less, then you have like less power on it. But also if you have like those two static things, the other things you can play around with, and then you can, I don't know, like depending on what you want to use it for. This is like a really, really thick one from a really high resistance surface. So I mean, part of it for it because it's soft, it should be like soft, it should be like the textile things, it should be the ones that are like important. That's why it should be soft. We don't want to reproduce a super powerful sound system. Different examples.
When you talk of resistance, high resistance is 8 ohm.
Like the resistance that we're using, or what's the question?
You have talked about the resistance, high resistance of this kind of control testing. High resistance for this kind of product is 8 ohm.
Sometimes they if they're higher, then you can put them in parallel, and then it will like half the resistance. So if you put 2 of them in parallel, they're like 16 ohm, then you go back to like 8.
Okay.
So for instance, like this one, because it's the textile itself, it has high resistance because it's almost 1 ohm per square inch, and the other one is like 0.06. Not this one. The copper one. This one is 0.06 per square inch. So you can kind of calculate it, but it's really only after you cut it that you know exactly the total resistance of this coil. So I mean, these 2 coils were 6, so it worked as a standalone speaker. And this one that was like much thicker, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure. I think this one, the triangle, the triangle, I think it was like 14 ohm. So you have to put them in parallel in order to use it as one speaker, like one channel. If you put them in parallel, you could reach that resistance that you want.
So you can kind of calculate the resistance before cut it.
Some of it, yeah, kind, but after it, it's when you can actually have the thing. I mean, because you have the textiles properties, so it's like 1 square inch per blah blah blah. But I think it's kind of hard to calculate. I mean, like in the surface area of a spiral.
Yes, but probably with KiCad,
No,
isn't it possible?
impossible, because the resistance where you calculate and measure is only the DC resistance. But when you work, they come in also frequency, and then the resistance change depending on the frequency. When you have a low frequency, generally the resistance is
lower.
When you go in the high frequency, they come bigger.
So they say.
And you have a short circuit in the amplifier when you have low frequency. And in high frequency, they work more better. And also the band pass is coming depending on the frequency. Same time you have a 1 kilo, you have a very big power coming out. You go in 20 hertz, it loses completely the frequency because you don't have the possibility to move there. And also the impedance, they go very low.
And that's what started.
Depend of the frequency, of the capacity, and the impedance of the formula of the impedance coming from 2 square of the frequency, capacity, inductance, and resistance.
Okay, so it's not super easy to figure out.
Just like that.
This goes.
You need the impedance meter for make a test. They come from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, and coming the curve of the impedance.
See, I think like it's not so much of a. It's a way of like hacking a speaker, It's really trying to like push the borders of something that you can make sound with. So it's not so much of a safe science. Still, there's like a lot of the variables within, which we're kind of like exploring without getting burnt. But I mean, so far, like this last 2 months, with all your help, it's been like we've reached a really nice, like stable point, like a plateau where we can actually like work with it without having it burned, without like knowing like so many things that we learned in these last 2 months. Yeah, and I know there's some videos that we can show. For instance, I mean, this is just fast. This is supposed to be there's this is supposed to be like powered only with one channel, and it's calculated so the entire resistance of this or the impedance is 6 ohms, and it's like 4 speakers, so it should be like pretty loud. There's also like a formula that we told us, which is the more speakers that you use in parallel, the decibels go up. Like you have like, if you have one speaker, it's like 1. If you have 2 speakers, it's 3, and then it's like 9, and then it's like 18 decibels with 4 speakers. Just you need like a lot of power.
Yeah.
Pero, sí.
Show the video.
It's coming from like, the sound is coming from Zoe's mic. Some more like frequency range tests. All the sound you can hear there, it's coming from the stack, from that text stack.
It's not moving though.
No, because they were like high frequencies, so you can't really.
So what's the range?
When it starts moving?
No, meaning that, so what's the range of this music, more or less?
For this one?
Yeah.
I mean, we were playing, I think, around 1 kilohertz, but it was like arpeggiating down and up like 1 octave. But it's kind of hard to calculate because it's 1, and then it arpeggiates under 1 octave, and then like above, so it's like around it. Pero
so around from 400, 500 until.
I guess maybe a bit higher. I think maybe a bit higher if we like. I mean, I can't tell, but
Yeah.
maybe a bit higher.
Yeah, probably.
Ma questo arriva anche fino a 10 K.
Sì.
What?
It's about 100 kilo.
Mm-hmm.
That probably is like.
And this
wow.
All of it is coming from it, and there you also have like, you know, like there's a choir behind it, so you have like it's a big amount of frequency that it's going through at the same time. It's like
So all the recording were done during the night, I suppose.
upstairs in the room. No, they were done upstairs in the room, and with like the microphone from the iPhone. So it's just it's not the. I mean, it actually sounds. You're gonna be able to hear it there. It can actually like it does sound like much better. This is like low frequency, and it's like vibrating. There's no sound for this one. It's just like vibrating. Also because the textile is allowing all the air to go through. It's like this organza.
This is very low frequency.
Yeah.
It's just
No sound.
almost no sound, and you can almost hear, but the organza looks beautiful. So that's
And you actually move.
and because I think part of like this whole is the project is, of course, we want to get like sound from the textile, but it's also keeping the textile being a textile. So it's how the textile moves and everything. It's not building like it's like the silky one. Also like to see how like
Wow. Wow, this is cool.
Now it's not me.
It's cool.
like super low frequency.
Yeah.
Also, we're working a lot with squares, like square waves, because they're the ones, especially for the D amplifiers. They're the ones that work so much, so well. I can put this one like again. Here it looks super cool when you can start seeing like how it's like there. Like, we have also this is another idea.
But
Pero-
show the other
Sí, pero in theory, we want to be able to control both of the speakers. It's like a moire.
and use this moving type of speakers and with the sounding ones.
So kind of like,
The name of this sound is Doppler effect.
that's the Doppler effect, like this interference.
Because you go in phase and come in phase.
Doppler.
And then you get cut or bang. When you are in phase, it's bang. When in counter phase, it's cut.
And that's what you get to move. This is right.
Yeah.
Just like it's like a moire sound system. And see, it's the same speakers going from a really high to really low. You can see how they, and you can hear the loud, but you can see the low. This is a sort of a piece written for it. You can see how with this thing, how it becomes distorted when you're going to hear it. That's a kick drum when it comes in. That's a kick drum. But the getting cut is when the kick drum comes in a steady frequency. So you're sending one frequency, and it can't really play the kick drum, but it stops playing the high frequency because it starts moving because of the. And this is another diagram. You can't hear it so well right now, but another one, also like another test. Basically, I mean, this is the speakers that we built. I mean, we built many, but this is my favorite ones. We did a documentation from it with their help. They did a beautiful illustration from the tutorials. And that's the implant.
No, you need to open it. Click
But-
twice.
But I think it's not downloaded.
No, it is. What do you mean?
I think it
Because
wasn't
it's
in the
the
pen drive.
sensors.
Yeah, both of these are the sensors.
Ah,
Can I check in the
Yeah.
Gmail maybe?
no, open the open this. No.
Should I go into my mail?
Yeah. Yeah. You have to log out my three accounts.
Good.
Ah, okay.
Sorry for this one. Maybe these are not.
This is the version control, right?
The what?
The version control.
Yes. Exactly.
Wait, it's not you, right? 1 second.
That's why GitHub it's so powerful. No?
I'm here trying to.
We need to work a little harder.
This maybe.
This one. Is this one textile?
So we will try to change the.
It's just like the wrong title. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, this is kind of like what we did. It's just like a simple explanation.
Okay, done.
We found it. Yeah.
Found
So it's a simple explanation. It's kind of like the same setup that you're going to see there. They did beautiful illustrations.
Very safety setup.
Yeah, yeah. It's a setup that it won't burn, it won't smoke. It's like the foolproof. It's just, you know, like you build it and it's gonna work.
But you're gonna leave one of the amplifier here
See.
for that one? Okay.
And also ready coil and everything. And a magnet we won't, but you have
Okay,
magnets.
I have, yeah.
That's it. And it's pretty simple. I mean, we're using this amp right now.
So these amps are the one from Futura?
Water. Yeah, they have it in Futura, but it's 2 times more expensive.
So how much is it? How much is it?
€4. There in Waterot, it's €1.70.
Cool. Yeah. It's cool.
That's it.
So did you find the gummy bear in the?
No,
No,
we didn't send it.
No.
only a sticker.
See,
Oh
sticker.
shit.
That's
So
like
read the
fucking man.
Read the fucking man.
Yeah.
It's good. At least.
See, and I mean, you can power it with something like this. See, like with a 3.7. it goes-
Probably is about the price. So if the whole
Yeah,
is
you
think-
higher than €100,
to
there
get
are
a
gummy
gummy
bears.
bears.
Really, it's fucking serious. And I always pay a lot.
So we put all this online, so if you need, you can download the document and copy it and evolve it and whatever.
There's also the
There are also the
pattern to the
the pattern and the settings for the laser.
Yeah.
for the big one
Yeah.
Yes, probably we will need to update
because they
because they repair the laser.
Yeah.
see.
But did you
And,
cut again after it was repaired?
No, yes. If it's versionable, we can do it.
See. And because when we tried to cut it before, like this copper textile, because it's reflective, it wouldn't cut so much, but here it cut beautiful. The big one.
Cool.
Okay,
Schematic.
and then there is the matrix.
See, the matrix, we actually have
So this, they did this other project, and it's also showed in there.
And it's a little bit of experimentation or different textile sensors. And this is a matrix pressure sensor. It consists of like 4 points. We're working with a nano, and it runs with a patch here that you can see. It's just a visualization for it. You can swipe your finger and move the particles where they're at. And you can try it out here. It works. It looks like this.
It's a big sandwich. Huh?
Yeah.
But yes, but you can change the top layer and the last one. We use neoprene here, but you can use anything else.
Like here, there's one test that we use this way, so it's like really nice to touch. And
Yes, we use the velvet.
Velvet.
Yeah.
And what about these other things that you prepared here?
In these.
Yeah, no, I mean all the three of
Mhm.
all these three. You did it to keep it here?
See, this is for you, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the matrix one.
Yeah.
It's like already cut and ready. It's like
The
sandwiched.
pressure, the pressure sensor and the band sensor. Nice. Very simple, but yes. Okay.
So you can take it away and sorry, there is also one that is already made.
See, that's
Yeah,
already
yes.
made. That's
But
like connected.
It's in the exhibition.
See, so it's connected, and it has the instructions. It also has a code. It has this.
So you have the instruction in the PDF, but also you can have a look and of all the pieces that are real, and then try it with the really.
Yeah.
And you can vary the sensitivity
Yeah.
with different. I mean, you can either do it physically with different resistors or in the software.
So shall we try?
See,
The video.
The video. See.
Yeah.
So there's this. So this was from them. all the documentation. They actually did really nice illustrations. This is just a short, it's a little image that I made. Just like the Rodonea, it's a project that we started to work with Caracol. And it's a kind of like a collaboration between both sides. The idea is to use a robot hand. It's drawing a function, Rodonea function, which is a rows function. It's a mathematical function. I don't know if you want to talk more about it.
I've got a function about when you install it on a Rhino, the grasshopper, it's great. It's called Rodonea, and you can create a different textile, just create mathematical algorithmic. We use it for sound.
It creates different patterns, and you can change like 3 different variables in it, and it's called Rodonea because it's kind of like the rows function, and it has like it draws kind of like petals, and it goes like it's around center and it's like moving around. And what we did is to mix our side, which is the textile, the drawing, and the sound, with their side, which is the robot and the Rodonea. And we made a short video from it. This is kind of like how it works. It's drawing, the hand is actually drawing this Rodonea function on a 2D surface, which is a textile, with a laser. And the sound is created from this. It's just special effects.
He's not the robot.
Nor the amplifier.
This is just like a little during the filming. So you have a robot which is drawing on the textile. These are like behind the scenes. These are just like iPhone videos. Kind of looks like this. So it's a visualization of sound. The smoke as well. It's like a little time lapse.
È Paolo che voleva anche vedere.
It's kind of like a time lapse from it. This is kind of like what it's drawing. And it draws a trace which disappears. This is also the first iteration from this project. So in the beginning, we wanted to draw on water, but because we didn't have enough time, then we just used the textile. But we have many ideas,
You can draw on any liquid.
Yeah, we wanted to draw on water, and this water would be affected by the sound itself. So the pattern that is being drawn. So we had like this type of idea. Also, we want to draw not on a flat surface, but like something with 3D, because part of the Rodonea is done in 3 dimensions, like super. So this is just the first iteration.
So when you say mind blowing, is
it's just This is kind of like just showing how it works. The camera is dividing the space in different areas, and as the laser touches different areas, it triggers different sounds. So this is drawn by hand, just to show a little bit how it works. And this is also just a trial. There's also people speaking, but so where it's going around, it's triggering different sounds. This is the laser and the smoke. This is kind of like the setup.
DJ
See the console, and this is the video. Sí, Mateo Bellomo. This is also the trailer. So this is a trailer to entice the people. We will have a more explanatory version from it. All the sound was created by the setup, by the machine, by the robot drawing. All the sound, all the sound. The sound also is not edited, it's just as it is.
wow.
do, we can turn that leg up.
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
Volevo vedersi, non è che
Nella penombra sembra alien.
no.
Fa paura.
So small goes so you can see the laser.
Che figata.
Sì. Super. So that's another is also ongoing project. We just have one last project to show because we did work. That we work. It was also something else that we were working on. Maybe you saw it in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the, please don't move. And we're also working.
Please don't touch,
Please
don't
don't.
eat.
See, these were we were testing on building crystals to growing crystals for sound interaction. So it's kind of like growing your own MIDI device. And this was what was in the kitchen.
Wow.
I'll show you the video. This is just like a little mini site we built. It's so I just want to scroll down a little bit to show like some of the pictures, and all of them were built kind of different. They look different. They have different properties. So like we're making sound. Kind of looks like that. I'll show you. I have to go to the video really fast. So this is the liquid that was in the kitchen.
You remember now. Wow. Ciao, sì. Oh,
And this,
So we had this liquid in the kitchen and we didn't know.
this is like a simple setup for black diamonds.
So the material is conductive, huh?
See, so we're using different types of salts and conductive ink to build it, and also like different surfaces.
So the different crystals are produced from temperature or
There's
what?
some variations like temperature and also pincho, borax.
Or we use this borax and alum.
So the recipe, the composition of the salt.
And also when you build it, there's there's a version that you like kind of like take it out really fast. Another one you leave it for a long time and you allow the temperature to go down slower. So it's just different ways of allowing the crystals to form.
Cool. Is this easy to do?
The thing is that
I think it's really hard to control because there are many types of crystallization.
Okay, yes.
So you have to experiment a lot.
and also it takes time, so it's you have to like wait until
Sometimes you need a month or
Shit.
yeah.
and then you realize.
It's grow very smoothly.
Sorry.
So you prepare the solution eating the material or what? Or just mixing the material?
I mean, because she's the expert in this. So I think there was like different ones, like ones that you first mix it and then heat it and then mix again.
Yeah, there are many
variations.
Yeah.
I mean, like sometimes you mix the whole thing together and then you put it to do, like to leave it like, I don't know, like half a day and then you boil it again.
But it depends on the temperature, how the crystal forms.
Also, like on the surface that you're growing it. Like, I mean, for instance, I think you can see.
This is super interesting. Crystals are.
And right now we are testing it on textile.
Wow.
So like instead of sewing together two textiles, you use only just this. So you like sewing the textile with these crystals together.
Really?
And this is also a sensor.
Oh wow.
So like for example, here in the neck.
But aren't they super hard and fragile?
It's an haute couture.
I think some of them, like
problem solved.
Some of them are super fragile. Like,
fragile couture.
I mean, it's like ephemeral. You wear it one day and then it's like
it's done.
Yeah.
It depends
if it's not too wet.
See, I mean, or if you're like kind of like walking around, I don't know, like it really depends because some of them are like super strong. Like this one is like a rock, it's like super strong, and this one is super fragile. Like I broke while filming it. I broke this one twice.
Wow.
You know. Yeah. She was not very.
But there are stronger ones, like above.
I think
super interesting.
This one here, or one of them that has like this in weird shapes, is from growing the crystals in a container. So it grabbed the form of the container instead of like growing up. It like grabbed the form of the container.
Cool. That's super cool. I like it.
Thank you. So shall we go and touch the matrix?
Yeah.
Qua ci sono le spirali, va bene?
And there are specifications. Okay, we can by hand, but
Ci sono speaker per
we also tried the stretchy speakers. So you can actually stretch them. It's not really tested because we finally used the woven textile. Not really good.
Quanti sono? Tantissimi. Ma sono bellissimi anche. Sì. Non lo so. Ma che sono belli. No, questo non è
Because all of them should weigh the same, like number wise, Yes, all of them should be the same weight, but they're not because the resistance varies a little bit between them. So if you touch in the middle, the ones that are a bit heavier win. So it goes to the bottom ones. Pero it's totally flexible. Like it's not. Sí. It's nice. Also, we usually use genetic, and I think this one. So you have like a low frequency, it starts to vibrate. And you have like a pressure thing, and you push it a lot, and you get like a high frequency. They vibrate. And this one is the same. But
No,